观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看本期的做客侨报，我是主持人英露。在纽约啊，尤其是纽约的亚裔人口中，有这样一个人，他用自己的亲身经历缔造了一段亚裔参政议政的神话。他是纽约市的第一位亚裔的市议员，也是纽约市第一位亚裔市主计长。同时呢，他也是第一个参加纽约市市长竞选的亚裔，他就是刘纯义张六。那么今天我们做客侨报节目，非常荣幸的请到了刘纯义来到我们的节目现场。刘纯义，1967年1月8日出生于中国台北，5岁时随父母移民美国，定居纽约。刘纯义毕业于纽约州立大学宾汉顿分校。2001年11月，刘纯义当选纽约历史上的第一位亚裔市议员，从此开始了他的政治生涯。在2009年11月3日举行的纽约地方选举中，刘纯义以压倒性优势战胜竞争对手，成为纽约历史上第一位亚裔主计长。2013年，刘纯义宣布竞选纽约市长，成为纽约历史上首位参与市长竞选的华裔候选人。受多方面因素影响，2013年9月10日，刘纯义在市长竞选民主党初选中落败。目前在纽约布鲁克大学任兼职教授。Hello, John. Welcome to our studio.
Thanks for having me.
And most of us got to know you as a politician.
Ooh, I prefer the words public servant.
Okay, public servant.
As opposed to politician.
Yeah, but you're actually now a professor.
Yes, that's right. Well, as you know, I was not successful in the mayor's election last year, which, you win some, you lose some. And now this year I have decided to stay within the public sector by being a teacher, by being a professor. And I teach municipal finance, which is what I did as comptroller.
Any of your students recognize you in the first class?
Yeah. I had quite a number of students. They claim they signed up for the course because they knew I was teaching it. So,
did they vote for you?
They claim they did.
Okay.
But, no extra credit for voting for me. They have to do their work.
Okay. Do you think you're a good professor? Are you tough or nice?
I think I'm fair.
You're
I
fair.
think I demand that they learn quite a bit and that they do the work. But I think I'm fair in the assessments, and some of the students are very engaged, and some of the students I have to push along a little more. But I teach a master's course, so the students are actually almost finished with their master's degree in public administration, and they're motivated and they're knowledgeable. Yeah.
So why did you decide to become professor after years of being a public servant?
Well, most of my adult career actually has had nothing to do with the public or politics. I was in finance as an actuary for most of my career. And then for the previous 12 years, I had the privilege of serving in elected office, 8 as a member of the New York City Council and 4 as New York City Comptroller. But as I said before, I wanted to continue to share my experience and insight into the finances of this city. And that's what I'm teaching. I'm teaching my students about New York City's finances and the finance of cities and states in general.
And you said the similarity between being a public servant and a teacher is you can share.
Absolutely. I teach in the City University, City University of New York, Baruch College, and it is a place where I think it gives the students huge opportunities, equal opportunities. The college is a very reasonably priced college. It's not like some of the private schools that are very expensive. And it affords access to the students so that they can develop and improve their own skills and maybe move on to the next level. Actually, almost all of my students have full-time jobs.
Okay.
And so at night, because my classes are at night, they come to class at night. And once they finish their master's degree, I expect that they will be able to get promotions or move ahead in their jobs.
Okay.
I think the biggest change is not necessarily going from a public servant, you call politician, to a professor. It's more that my my schedule and my time this year is much, much easier than it has been for a long time. I don't have the pressures of having to meet the demands of the voters or the public at large. And instead, being in a university and in a learning environment, things slow down a little bit. There's more time to think about what's happening and try to understand the big picture of what's going on.
Can I take it you're taking a rest and you're very satisfied with your life right now?
I am very happy. I've got a lot of time. My son is now 13 years old, and this is the last few months before he goes to high school.
Okay.
So in September he goes to high school.
Which high school?
He was accepted into Stuyvesant High School.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much. So he'll be attending. Now, I'm a graduate of Bronx Science, so I have to be a little bit measured since we, our schools compete against each other. And my wife is a graduate of Brooklyn Tech. But we're very happy that Joey is going to Stuyvesant, and I am spending a lot of time with him. The baseball season just started this week.
Okay.
So we played quite a lot of baseball.
Oh, nice. So
Yes.
you consider yourself as a great father to him.
Well, I give grades to other people, but I try not to grade myself.
But to most of us, we still consider you like a miracle Asian American
Oh.
here, you
Wow.
know, because you're the first Asian American city council and the first Asian American controller and the first Asian American in their New York City mayor campaign. So in the past years of being a public servant, what do you think was your biggest achievement?
Well, I think getting there is half the battle. So, as you mentioned, I always felt very proud to be the first Asian American council member or controller, or as you said, candidate for mayor. I wish I wasn't the first. I wish that Asian Americans had been elected long ago. Asians have been running for city council and other offices here in New York City for quite some time. But nonetheless, I guess it's better late than never, so I was proud to be the first. And being the first always carried some additional responsibilities, but also gave me great opportunities. Obligations and responsibilities in terms of being a voice for our growing community where there was very little to no voice in government before. And so a lot of times we'd have to answer the calls for help from anybody in the community, wherever they are in New York or beyond. On the other hand, being the first Asian has also given me opportunities that maybe if I was not the first Asian, I would not have had. So, you always take the good with the bad, and I always see things as a cup half full, and that we can fill it even more.
2012年3月，正在参加纽约市市长选举的刘纯义被指竞选筹款涉嫌违规，深陷捐款门，遭联邦调查。纽约市竞选财务委员会的规章表示，对于175美元以下的捐款者，每位纽约市民捐出1美元，候选人可对应的从公共基金里获得6美元的竞选匹配金。这就意味着，小额捐款者越多，可以拿到的竞选匹配金也越多。而刘纯义竞选团队则被指涉嫌通过虚构小额捐款者的方式来获得竞选匹配金。为此，刘纯义竞选团队的财务主管侯佳和一名筹款志愿者潘新武也因被控密谋违反竞选财务法律而接受调查，最终被判入狱。虽然刘纯义本人并未受到任何指控，但其形象也不可避免地受到了影响。2013年8月5日，纽约市竞选财务委员会拒绝了刘纯义约350万美元的竞选匹配基金补助款，使之成为当届纽约市长竞选中唯一得不到竞选匹配基金的市长候选人。此举也成为刘纯义竞选道路上的重大障碍。
Many people have criticized the Campaign Finance Board as being a board of 5 people, 3 appointed by the mayor, 2 appointed by one of my opponents, the Speaker of the City Council.
Do you think he's on you?
Well, you know what? At least those 2 members should have recused themselves from that decision. But the point here is that many people have criticized the Campaign Finance Board in recent years for some of the decisions that they have made that have undermined democracy here in New York City. And the way that they denied my campaign of $3.5 million 5 weeks right before the election, that is unconscionable. It is what caused my campaign to be unsuccessful. We were not able to get any commercials, campaign commercials on TV, even though we had them prepared. Meanwhile, all of my opponents received millions of dollars, and they all had commercials every night. So it made a huge difference to the point where some of my strongest supporters didn't even realize I was still running because they never saw anything from me, whereas every night they would see the commercials from my opponents. So, look, I'm not looking to redo the election. The election is long finished, but I think we need changes at the Campaign Finance Board, reform the way they make their decisions and how they carry out their responsibilities. And so I have actually filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the Campaign Finance Board. Well, we just filed it earlier, or actually last month.
Okay.
And this is not going to be a case that's resolved overnight. It'll take at least a year to get from beginning to end.
What do you want to get exactly from this?
Well, the main thing I'm looking for, I'm not looking for any money for my own pocket. I'm looking for changes, reform at the Campaign Finance Board, so that we don't have this kind of undermining of democracy again. The Campaign Finance Board is supposed to promote democracy and encourage candidates to run for office. But in recent years, it seems like it's doing the opposite.
And because of their allegations, your treasurer in the campaign, Jenny Ho, was sentenced to prison, and she was now released on bail. Have you ever seen her after?
I keep in regular contact with Jenny. She is an outstanding young person, someone who I admire quite a bit, and I'm going to support her all the way. And she's appealing the verdict, and I think she's going to be very successful.
2014年1月30日，由拉丁裔民主党参议员赫南德兹提出的 SCA5 加州宪法修订案，在加州参议院以27-9的票数通过，且被移交众议院等待投票。SCA5 提案要求，在加州公立大学学院中恢复平权法案，限制亚裔学生人数，多招拉丁裔和非裔学生。SCA5 提案引发了在美华裔群体的普遍愤怒。2014年3月17日，加州众议院议长佩雷兹最终宣布，已将 SCA5 提案退还参议院，众议院将不会对此采取任何行动。
I think that anything that discriminates against Asian Americans, even by seemingly flattering us, is discriminatory, and we should never stand for any of that. Originally, I thought something like that, which was really crazy, would never come to New York, but in fact, one of the state senators here in New York State actually tried to bring something like Proposition 187 to New York. So if that could happen back then, you never know what could happen now. We just have to be ever vigilant. I think, I was a very strong supporter of the DREAM Act, which in New York would have given immigrants an equal opportunity to pursue higher education. Good for the immigrant student, but also good for our city and state, because we have so much potential that is hidden because these individuals, these immigrant young people, are not able to get higher education.
Right.
But that unfortunately failed the state Senate. I hope that comes back. But we have to understand that unfortunately you cannot take for granted that we are past anti-immigrant sentiments or anti-Asian sentiments.
How do you get prepared for these kind of things that were happening?
Well, number one, we have to be ever mindful. I think China Press and the news media does a great job of informing our growing community of these issues. But people have to, they have to participate. That's what I consider the most beautiful thing about America, that everybody has a right to vote, and that in every election there are choices. You have to make your choice. You have to participate in this democracy. That's what America is about. And so I'm proud that our community continues to vote in higher numbers, and we have to just keep working hard to increase our voting rate. We also have to have more people from our community run for office, because when you run for office, I mean, that's the idea behind the democracy. Not only do you have the vote, but you can vote for people who you believe will best represent your interests. And so you have to have voters, and we have a lot more voters, and you also have to have candidates to vote for. And therefore, we need people to take an interest in public service, not necessarily politics, and run for office.
Okay. And as you started a new life, New York has been starting a new life with the leader of the new mayor. So how do you think about his performance so far?
Well, it's unbelievable. Every other day I get a call from reporters asking me to judge Mayor de Blasio or assess his performance. It's only been 3 months. And so my inclination is to give him a chance to do his job. And you know, he has had some difficulty, but he has also had some great successes. And you know, no offense, but sometimes the media likes to focus on the difficulties. But look, I think I'm proud of what he's done so far, to be able to bring universal pre-kindergarten for the 4-year-olds here in New York City, to require sick pay for workers who are mostly immigrant and mostly women, and just to really bring about a city that starts to work for everybody. It's not easy to change the direction of the city after 12 years of a previous administration, which, in my opinion, did not lead the city in the right direction. Mayor de Blasio has, in a relatively short period of time, changed the direction of the city.
So you think de Blasio is better than Bloomberg?
Yes, absolutely.
But according to a new poll coming out recently, nearly half, actually 49% of New Yorkers approved de Blasio's performance. Do you think you would do better if it were you?
Oh, you know what? It's far too late, and I would say irrelevant to try to answer those kinds of questions. But the point here is that our city is heading in the right direction. And de Blasio and I agree on many of the key issues.
You are actually a role model for lots of actually Asian Americans here, especially those who want to be public servants later. So do you have any suggestions to them, like how they could use the resources here in the society and how they become?
I take every chance I get to encourage young people to look at what's around them, understand the kinds of resources that they have at their disposal. You have to go out and take the initiative. And that's what I always remind young people, that they have to take the initiative. This is, you know, it's not about being chosen for something. It's about choosing yourself what you want to do.
Although you say you're a former public servant, but I still can see you in lots of community events. So I know you have a very compact schedule, especially on weekends.
Oh no, I don't think my schedule is very busy at all. I mean, compared to last year, sometimes I do in 1 week what I used to do in a day. And I was active in the community before I was elected to any office. And so now that I have finished serving office, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be any less active. The community is still my community, and I'm always going to be very involved.
We're kind of hoping you to come back to the community and to be the voice of us someday. So do you have any plan in the future?
I don't have any plans. But look, as I said before, you know, we need more people to run for office. So I am in touch with many other people that I think have the potential to run for office. And so I will do my best to guide them along the way and provide whatever support I can. I know that you will continue to do a great job of informing and educating the public. And as our community continues to grow, so will the job and the responsibilities that you have as a major newspaper here. And I think we can only improve for the future.
Well, thank you so much for accepting our interview today.
Thank you very much. I am honored to be your first interviewee.
Thank you.